What is up, beautiful humans? Today I'm going to talk about something that I altered in my life that has made a drastic impact for the better, a huge improvement in everything I do in life. I cut off all social media from my life for 90 days. I was only expecting to do it for 30, but I ended up loving it so much and the peace of mind and positives that it brought into my life that I'm actually still doing it today. And I want to share how I got to this point from having every social media on my phone to having none of them on my phone. Screen time, anxiety, depression all went down, and taking action, hope for the future, and actually enjoying what I'm doing in my life has all increased exponentially since cutting out social media consumption. Before heading into this journey, I was reading stuff online as I went along with countries like Australia to even states in the US like California, wanting to try and limit access and reach of social media, especially in the younger generation, so that they can stop these trends that they see popping up with depression and anxiety, and honestly, people not living anymore at certain ages that shouldn't even have those thoughts in their mind stemming from social media use. So if you're my age, I was born in 1996, or if you're a little bit younger, and definitely if you're older than me, social media really has been a part of our life for like a decade, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on how you grew up. It has not been a part of the majority of your life, so this is not impossible. Step one, I started with an app called Opal, O-P-A-L. And this app on iOS, at least the iPhone, it's a focus app that restricts access to selected apps that you choose for a set period of time. So for me, example, working on a 9 to 5 schedule, I would put a block on all of the social media apps from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. just as a starting point so that I could focus on work. And here's what the app looks like. So if we go to my phone and I click the Opal app, this is kind of what we're working with. And you can see that if I wanted to put a pause on the apps and open them back up, that I can do that. It gives you about 5 seconds. So you can't just like immediately tap on the app and think about it. And you can take a break if you want, up to 15 minutes, and it will give you access back to the apps. You can leave it early if you want. So this isn't like you're gonna lose access to these apps all day. You can get back into it. The part is basically little trip mines and barbed wire that prevents you from immediately clicking on Instagram. I mean, how many times have you went to be like, I wonder how this person is doing. Let me go look them up on Instagram or Twitter or social media in general. And then you get on there and then 15 minutes goes by and you're like, why did I even get on this app? Because you loaded it up and saw something interesting like the app is engineered to do. And then you are caught into this 15, 20, 30 minute or more scrolling thing, and you come out of it and you're like, I didn't even do what I intended on, and I just lost all this time. The Opal app is beautiful for that as a starting place to try and open up your mind and just get you to realize and be conscious of what you're doing so that like you just can't go click on Instagram or click on TikTok. Instead, you are now faced with 3 to 4 extra buttons that you have to face and be like, do you really want to be on here? Do you really need to be using this right now? So I think the app is a great starting place because it's like it's free, 1, no barrier to entry, and 2, it's not too invasive where it's going to be like, no, you actually don't have access to the apps. It'll solve that little thing in your mind that's like, oh my God, I can't go without it right now. You can still get back into it, but it's going to set up some tripwire that you have to hop over 5 fences before you're going to actually go on this app. So you better make sure that you're going on it with purpose. And I think that is the beautiful thing of this app to start off with. It's super customizable. You can change the times and change the apps that you actually want blocked, and you don't have to pay for anything. So that's step 1. And this is going to help you into step 2, is just adding on to that consciousness about what you're doing on these apps. For myself, I found when I was working on something challenging, a task that was actually hard, and I had to put mental fortitude on to get through it and actually do a great job on it, I found myself reaching for my phone more and more often to try and get out of that mindset and do something easy. Like instead of putting out information and work outside of me, instead it's easier to consume. That's the hard thing. And so saying no to that and realizing that like when I'm going to pick up my phone is actually when I'm working on something meaningful and hard that I don't want to do, but I need to do. And so over time I would be like, okay, why am I clicking on this app right now? Okay, I'm doing something hard that requires focus and attention and it's a little bit excruciating. So I'm reaching for these things to try and cancel that out. It's not easy. You almost feel like withdrawal going off of these social media apps because scientists created them to keep you on them as long as possible. And there's a broader impact with this. That's why states like California and countries like Australia are putting bans and pressure on social media companies. Because data has proven that as screen time goes up, so does depression and anxiety. And even a recent study suggested that toddlers with more than 14 hours per week of screen time have an increased risk of developing autism. 14 hours a week, I mean, the saying of iPad kid, like that's just 2 hours of staring at a screen every day of the week, and you have a higher risk of developing autism as a toddler. And this is something that you can see anywhere. If you go to an airport and take a 2-hour flight and there's a kid that's staring at an iPad or a phone for those 2 hours, like they get home, you're gonna tell me they're not gonna look at a screen anymore? I mean, 14 hours is a very light number from what the trends are in our current state. Picking up the phone to use social media is a hard habit to break, I will admit. But realizing it so that it is a conscious decision if you're going to use social media is a very important step into living your best life. And over time, I would replace it with a different habit. For me personally, learning is very vital to what I'm trying to do in life. So on top of Opal, I would just keep my phone out of sight when I didn't need it, especially when I'm working and really need to focus on doing hard tasks and completing them, taking actionable steps. Another simple utilization is just turning on Do Not Disturb so that you're not getting notifications. Look at your screen time and see what apps that you're on for the most of the time and evaluate the benefits and costs of them. The phone itself is a double-edged sword. It can be a super powerful tool to help you move along further and live a more convenient life. It can also be a huge distraction in limiting your total output and reach that you can get in life. To be transparent, the only social media apps I use really are Spotify, YouTube, and LinkedIn. The next step was trimming the fat off and deleting the ones that really were adding no value to my life and were actually taking away. Like I felt like something was being taken away when I was getting off these apps, done scrolling. And for me, the ones that really added the most value to my life were YouTube. I felt like visually learning is a huge aspect of my life, and YouTube is basically a college university times 1 million. I've learned so much from YouTube. Another big thing is podcasts for me, like My First Million, Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, Nick Bare, a lot of stuff in business and finance that are sometimes audio only. I really love Spotify for that, as well as music. Music has its own huge benefits for creativity and honestly triggering things that keep me focused. And then LinkedIn to reaching out and connecting with people that I kind of want to be associated with and learn from and just talk to more. That was huge for at least me. I started deleting at least an app a week. So it started off with like Snapchat. Just, I can text you and I can send a picture through my messages if I want. Snapchat is just like another waste. And then TikTok. TikTok, say what you want. I just think that there's really a lot of negatives compared to the benefits of having that app. And it's just like the most susceptible to doom scrolling. So TikTok, Snapchat, axed right away. The next one was going to be Twitter. For me, there's a lot of great content on Twitter, but I just found like every time I was on there, it was opening up with some gang violence or shootings or some crazy stuff that would just like put me in a bad state of mind, and I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I want to go on there and see CEOs and tech people talking about new insights, not someone getting gunned down in the favelas, okay? And then Instagram, there's a lot of cool fitness content on Instagram, but I just found that I don't like putting stuff out to the world on Instagram. I'm not a big fan of short content. I love long form content because you can squeeze out ideas as much as you want, like I am in this video, and you can get an overall concept instead of taking something from a 30 to 60 second video and being like, oh, that's actually really interesting, and then just it not getting implemented because you're scrolling for 45 minutes after that and it's lost in the weeds. Let me start with the actionable steps, and then I'll end with the overall benefits and condense this so that you can walk away with this video with a plan to actually improve your life. Okay, actionable steps. Number 1, download the Opal app and limit access for the time that you're working in a day. And just make it for every day of the week. So from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., no access without barrier for social media apps. From there, write down and have a conscious understanding of when you are reaching for your phone to go on these apps. Is it when you're doing something hard? Is it when you're bored? Is it when you're waiting? And then fill it with something else. Get something like a book on your phone, or get, like YouTube or podcasts on there so that you're learning when you are bored or waiting, especially when you're doing something challenging. put the phone away completely so you have less of a chance of picking up the phone, going to the app and wasting time. Like instead of that, you'll have more focus on doing the things that are actionable and moving you along in life. And completing and doing actionable steps that are working in the right direction is actually what increases your hopefulness and excitement and just your overall feeling about yourself, and reducing all that anxiety and depression that are coming out of all these studies from overuse of social media. The next thing is just going to be, lightening the burden for Opal. Take these apps like TikTok and Snapchat that aren't adding any benefit to your life, or the benefit does not outweigh the cost. Delete those apps off your phone. Like, even if you're posting to social media, posting to YouTube, and I don't know about Snapchat, but at least Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, they have creator apps where you don't consume any of the content, you're just posting. And so that is a great way to still give out energy, give out information to the world without consuming the negative stuff that's holding you back. And you're actually putting more good out in the world than consuming bad. So I think that's a huge next step. Habits don't go away, they're just replaced. So replacing them with great habits, working out, eating healthier, stretching, reading, anything that is promoting growth in the mind and body is super important. And these benefits have really helped me string along and make actionable building steps on my business and my self-worth, from a physical standpoint, getting more in shape, to making more money, to helping more people. And this is all stemming from canceling out social media, because like myself, it was taking so much time of my day and my mental space even when I wasn't on the apps. And so I encourage you to really try this for at least a week, do these actionable steps, and then come back and let me know how you're doing, what else worked for you that maybe isn't included in my journey. But I really think that the trends are showing that this stuff on social media is having a negative impact on us. It hasn't been around for the majority of our life, and it is something that we can step away from. And it's the hard right over the easy wrong. This is one of those hard things that is right to do, that that you should try, rather than just being consumed and watching life pass you by. I don't think it's going to be a regret at the end of the day that I did not consume as much social media over the long term of my life, rather than be more intentional about where I'm putting my time. I think it's very, very, very important for you to think about where you are spending your time, because it's valuable. And social media is distracting, and it's taking away from things that actually make you happy. These people on these apps that are posting a lot, they are making money. They are putting information out to the world, whether it be good or bad, they are creating. And that creating feeling of when you are putting stuff out to the world is actually a really, really, really good feeling. Like even me making this video and thinking that one person is going to watch this that is struggling with the things that we have discussed and is taking an actionable step that I open their eyes to, or maybe reconfirm for them, and then they are actually going to take that action, and it's going to have a drastic impact on their life. I mean, there's no better feeling. That's why I'm into personal training. Like seeing someone be where they are, where they want to be, and then me being in a spot around where they want to be, and understanding the journey that takes it along. Like that is something that you cannot consume, okay? That is something by giving. Giving creates an innate response that makes you feel good. That is a human trait for the most part, okay? Like helping someone makes you feel good. Giving, putting information out that helps other people makes us feel good. And you're not going to get that just by consuming. If it's consuming to spark an idea that makes you create, fine. But limit the access. And Apple has this on their phone settings already, where you can limit time on an app, but it's just 1-2 clicks of a button and you're back in, and you can honestly turn it off indefinitely for the day. It's not that hard. But an Opal app, at least you have like 4 to 5 more steps before you can get on this app. And I just think the more barriers and walls that you have to jump over makes it a lot easier to realize what is going on actively in your life. Like grab a hold of your life and take control of it. I saw a study recently, before social media in like 2000s, the average attention span was like 12 to 15 seconds. Now it's like less than 8. That is less than a goldfish, okay? Don't be a goldfish brain. Get back into taking action and taking steps in your life. In the United States, at least, we are in a time of abundance. The issue isn't finding food, finding knowledge. It's what food and knowledge to stay away from. And this applies to everything nowadays. It used to be you come across a caribou and you destroy the caribou, and then you eat and use everything on it. And now it's just like you have food at every corner. You have every single social media app on your phone. Everyone's trying to get your attention. And so in today's age, it is about saying no, limiting restrictions, being very conscious of your goals, and then setting daily tasks to get those done. And there is nothing about social media, really nothing, that is going to help you progress from a consumption standpoint. So I hope that this helps you. If you love this type of stuff of optimizing your health, please consider subscribing and liking this video so I can help more people and just have a wonderful life. And it starts with limiting distractions and becoming your best self. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.